This is a review of Chapter 3 from the book Introduction to Sociology by Giddens et al. Chapter 3 looks at culture and society. Among the learning objectives is to get a basic knowledge of what culture consists of, to be able to recognize it and see how it differs from society, to be able to recognize things such as the legacies of colonialism and the effects of globalization on our own lives and the lives of people around us, and to be able to understand the debate over the influence of biological and cultural factors on behavior and learn how the internet and global culture influences local culture. Culture and society. Culture basically consists of the values and norms and material goods that are characteristic of a given group. Society refers to a group of people who live in a particular territory and are subject to a common system of political authority and are aware of having a distinct identity from other groups. Cultural universals. This includes values or modes of behavior shared by all human cultures. And marriage is a socially approved sexual relationship between individuals. And may I add here, not only is it socially approved, but it's also legally approved as well. So we have non-material culture and material culture. Non-material culture, in essence, comprises of non-physical components of culture, such as values, norms, symbols, language, and speech and writing. Material culture, on the other hand, are physical objects that society creates that influence the way in which people live. Symbols. Symbols is where we have one item that's used to stand for or represent something else. For example, when we take a look at the peace signal, the peace signal is represented by a V, but you take that same V and another culture may interpret that V as victory. You take that same V to a kindergarten classroom here in the United States, and that would indicate the teacher would require students to be quiet. Now, language is simply a primary vehicle or mode of communication, and it is presented either in a set of symbols or objects or abstract thoughts. We have speech and writing. All societies use speech as a vehicle of language. Writing began as a means of storing information in the form of lists. Marks made on wood, clay, or stone served to keep records about significant events, objects, or people. Early human culture. When we take a look at humanity back in the ages, we started off living in a hunting and gathering society. This is a society whose main mode of subsistence was from hunting animals, fishing, and gathering edible berries. By the time we got to the pastoral society, the sustenance was derived from rearing domesticated animals. We got to the agrarian society where sustenance now moved away from the rearing of domesticated animals and now focused on crop growing. By the time we got to industrialization, what we actually saw here was where machinery took over the work of manual labor. So, with that being said, there was a change in one, how we produced goods, um, and in the livelihoods of people as machines actually replace people in the field, for example. With industrialized society, what we saw is strongly developed nation state in which a majority of the population works in factories or offices rather than in agriculture. In an attempt to understand the modern world, two features come to the fore. That is colonialism and cultural capital. Colonialism basically is the process whereby Western nations establish their rules in parts of the world from their home territories. In other words, when you take a look at even the United States, we were colonized by different parties at different times in our history. Cultural capital simply refers to the accumulated cultural knowledge within a society that confers power and status. Cultural conformity. One of the challenges for all cultures is to instill in people a willingness to conform. Encouraging conformity is accomplished in two ways. Members learn the norms of their culture starting from childhood, or their social control comes into play when a person fails to conform adequately to a culture's norm. Culture differs in how much they value conformity. Cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation occurs when members of one cultural group borrow elements of another group's culture. Sociologist George Lipsitz has argued that when a majority or a dominant culture appropriates elements of a minority culture, particularly one that historically suffered oppression at the hands of the majority, it is especially important that those doing the appropriation be extremely sensitive to the historical meaning and contemporary significance of the cultural forms being appropriated. Now, let's take a look at something that happened at Yale in 2015. In 2015, on the campus of Yale University, there broke out controversy over a series of emails written by administrations about Halloween. An instructor was actually fired after students felt her email was dismissive of the power of harmful stereotypes against marginal groups. Subcultures and countercultures. Subcultures occur when values and norms distinct from those of the majority held by a group within a wider society. Subcultures imply different cultural backgrounds and languages within a larger society. They include segments of the population that have different cultural patterns. Some people identify with a particular subculture, whereas others move among several. Counterculture. Counterculture is where cultural groups within a larger society largely reject the values and the norms of the majority. An example of the counterculture is the Amish. The Amish resides within the larger American society, and yet they maintain a standard of living that is reminiscent of the history within which they identify. Assimilation and multiculturalism. Assimilation is the acceptance of a minority group by a majority population in which the new group takes on the values and the norms of the dominant culture. For example, we look here in the United States, and the United States primarily is made up of immigrants. A lot of times, immigrants, in order to really achieve in the United States, they tend to assimilate. And again, most immigrants in the United States have gradually adopted to the labor American. And so scholars maintain that assimilation varies depending on access to opportunity. Multiculturalism is a condition in which ethnic groups exist separately and share equally in economic and political life. Multiculturalism calls for respecting cultural diversity and promoting the quality of different cultures. Cultural identity and ethnocentrism. When exposed to a new culture, people may experience cultural shock, a state of disorientation from having lost familiar cultural reference points and not yet knowing how to navigate the new culture. Ethnocentrism is the tendency to look at other cultures through the eyes of one's own culture, thereby misrepresenting them. And cultural relativism is the practice of judging a society by one's own standards. Does nature or nurture more powerfully influence human behavior? Are we shaped by biology or are we just products of learning through life's experiences? Nurture. Sociobiologist explains behavior of both animals and human beings in terms of biological principles. Most sociologists today acknowledge a role for nature in determining attitudes and behavior, but they do not assume that all behavior is governed by instinct. Water instincts, fixed patterns of behavior that have genetic origins and that appear in all normal animals within a given species. Now, does the internet promote a global culture? What are your thoughts? Many people believe that the rapid worldwide growth of the internet responds to a spread in values that echo European and North American cultures. Countries reinforce traditional cultural values by censoring or blocking opposing content. So, for example, if you're in China, there's certain internet content that you won't be able to access if you're looking to access some things that are either European or North American based in terms of values. Now, online spaces can sometimes become echo chambers when people seek out like minded others who reinforce their own beliefs. You go on Facebook, and one of the things on Facebook is there are hundreds, if probably not thousands, of different groups on Facebook with which people identify. The internet fosters digitally linked tribes with their own unique cultural beliefs and values, sometimes in conflict with the dominant culture. Does globalization weaken or strengthen local cultures? Ha! Good question. Globalization refers to the reordering of time and distance in social life as our lives are influenced by events far removed from our everyday activities. Benefits of globalization includes access to a variety of goods and foodstuff. How many of you have ordered, let's say on Amazon, and what you've ordered takes a long time to get to you, very simply because it's coming as far away as China, as far away as Vietnam. Problems caused or exacerbated by globalization include global climate change, threat of terrorism, or job loss. I don't know about you, but sometimes I find it very frustrating. You're trying to reach a company here in the United States on the telephone, and the person on the line is not located in the United States. What is the implication of that? The implication is that we have lost those jobs. Globalization technology also supports local cultures. You can communicate with others who share your own cultural identity around the world. I remember when I lived in Japan, I missed a lot of things going on in the United States. And one of the things that I did was I was constantly on Facebook trying to catch up so that I don't miss um, some of the things that I had become accustomed to. This chapter concludes um, again chapter 3 of the Introduction to Sociology, the 12th edition by Giddens et al. Thank you.